We are going over to Fox News, where apparently one of their hosts had a meltdown over vaccines. I had to check and make sure that this wasn't old news, that this wasn't from like November 27, 2021, but no, it's November 27th, 2022. Fox commentator melts down over vaccination, saying she's going to be sent to a concentration camp. These people are idiots. Let's find out what their argument is.
But let's also not pretend that we're that much better from China on this issue than the Chinese Communist Party. Okay, you had a Rasmussen poll. Nearly half of Democrats wanted to put someone like me for not getting the vaccine in a government camp. Almost half of Democrats wanted to fine or imprison people for simply questioning the efficacy.
What? She said we wanted to put her in a camp? What?
Democrats wanted to fine or imprison people for simply questioning the efficacy of a vaccine. I could not go out to dinner in New York City for a period of time. You were rejected from a restaurant, kicked out of a restaurant. You had Joe Biden still purging military heroes for not wanting to get a vaccine that the Florida Surgeon General says increases.
The Florida Surgeon General is an incompetent piece of shit. That's why, my God, this is why they love that motherfucker. This is that Lapido or Lapido or whatever the fuck his name is. He worked at a hospital, I think it was in Massachusetts, and the surgeon that was over him at that hospital said he was unqualified to be the Surgeon General of Florida. The military has to take a shit ton of fucking vaccinations. Some of them actually experimental. The military has no right to refuse anything that the government wants to do to them. They signed over their lives. There is no bodily autonomy in the military. Holy shit. My God. And this, like, you have bodily autonomy. Nobody is forcing you to take a vaccine. Anyone acting like you are being forced to take a vaccine is a complete and total moron. And it was never, even when the employer mandate was in place, you weren't being forced. You could go get another goddamn job if you wanted to. You could work from home and not have to be around people. And even at that point, it wasn't even a vaccine mandate. You could vaccinate or you could take a test. You could be tested every day. That wasn't unreasonable. You can't just go infect people with a deadly disease. So the employee mandate was vaccinate or daily tests. What the fuck was unreasonable with that? There's not a goddamn thing. And anybody saying it was unreasonable, forcing you to wear a mask at your job, why is that unreasonable? That's like saying it's unreasonable to force you to wear a hard hat on a construction site. You stupid fuck. God damn. How are you people so fucking stupid?
Military heroes for not wanting to get a vaccine that the Florida Surgeon General says increases cardiac deaths in young men. But
it doesn't.
So, like, let's not pretend that the United States is that much better than China on this issue. And what was sad, and I think what COVID really underscored, is that you think just because we're in America, because we're a republic, somehow we're immune to tyranny. We are not. We saw it. Joe Biden's a tyrant. Justin Trudeau's Canada, Australia, all these countries that are supposed to be free are not.
And what was that story we saw this week, right? Where a majority of deaths from coronavirus in this country were by those who were vaccinated more than unvaccinated. In other words, you know, what we were promised and what we're seeing now are two very different.
Yeah, I want to see when the time period is of that number. If the majority of people are vaccinated, then the majority of deaths in like the last 6 months would come from the vaccinated. That's true. That's one of those things where you manipulate statistics.
Things. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, so we have to fight for freedom. Like, we have to preserve it. I mean, that's what Ronald Reagan warned to us. That
Ronald Reagan.
From extinction. And I really think that's what we saw during COVID. I know it woke me up. in saying that tyranny was here, saying what these people would do. Thank God we have a constitution. You know, thank God we have checks and balances to the executive power to Joe Biden.
DM literally just said in my chat that he used to go to stores and buy all the masks and burn them. Like, that is stupidity on a level I can't even begin to comprehend. I got another person saying masks don't work. No, what you were saying when you say masks don't work is you're saying masks aren't 100%, and they're not. Each type of mask has an efficacy. An N95 mask is about 95% effective. A surgical mask is around 70% effective. Cloth masks are about 20 to 30% effective. Oh my God. Do you hear what you're saying? It's like saying, like, fucking, you can't force people to wear a hard hat on a construction site. You can't force the kids to be vaccinated against measles, mumps, and rubella. We have a right to infect other people. He's 23 years old. He's one of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life. Honestly, this is the reason why this country did so poorly. We have one of the highest death rates of industrialized countries, and that should be something you get upset over, not masks. Not masks. The fact that this country, which had every advantage to be able to handle this pandemic, did so poorly, and we did so poorly because of you stupid fucks. Holy shit.
But boy, it was here, and it's still here.
And
so
not
you
only
can't take
that,
it for granted.
But you weren't even.
And then listen to him. I told him he was unable to have empathy. And listen to him. Go cry about it, he says. Go cry about it. One of the highest death rates of any industrialized country in the world, and this shithead comes to my chat and is like, cry about it. While literally crying about having to wear a mask. Literally, the dumb fuck kid is crying about masks and then telling me to cry about it when I bring up that we had one of the highest death rates of industrialized country in the world. Just the insanity. Yeah. General Strike, my friend. Thank you for being a freaking follower, and you know what? General Strike sounds like a damn good idea.
It's here, and it's still here.
And
so
not
you
only
can't take
that,
it for granted.
But you weren't even allowed to ask questions about it.
I did. But
we weren't allowed to ask questions about it.
But I did it anyways.
And a lot of people backed down and didn't ask questions. And those who did got absolutely destroyed for it.
I did. It wasn't fun. But, you know, I felt like it was the right thing to do, and I thought it was wrong.
Oh, you still live with your mom,
getting
DM.
Fired over a vaccine that most vaccines have 5 to 10 years of research. This had less than a year. mRNA is new to the market, and we just didn't know. And instead, people were shoving it in people's arms, and it was wrong, and it's still wrong. And I will defend it till this day.
Dealers, I just explained this to you. What you were saying is they are not 100% effective. They are effective. It's like seatbelts are not 100% effective in car crashes, but they are one of many mitigation tactics that you can take in order to reduce your risk of dying. Why do you idiots not understand this? Of course they're avoiding the word democracy. There were never any mandates. I just explained that to DM earlier. There was no vaccine mandate. You could get vaccinated or you could test daily. No, it might have not even been daily. It might have been weekly or some shit. So, shit. You just said you went to stores and bought all the masks and burned them, and then have the audacity to say nobody stopped anybody from wearing a mask. But here's the thing, is masks aren't that effective if everybody doesn't fucking wear them. If everybody had worn a mask, the infection rate would have plummeted. If we had done actual lockdowns and masking and contact tracing, more than likely we would have been over COVID in a month or two. And things would have been right back to normal. But you idiots can't understand how anything fucking works. And you make everything worse. Everyone should still be wearing a mask right now, especially with RSV going around, especially with one of the worst cases of influenza going around right now. Everybody should be wearing a mask. The idea that masks don't work is just stupid. Anyone that says that is a fucking idiot. The idea that masks don't work is absolutely insane. Have you heard the freaking news? YouTube, Facebook, and all of big tech are trying to do a cancel culture on JustinFREAKIN.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
Help the channel stay alive and grow by subscribing or following, and be sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the fun, even when one platform tries to shut us up.
He's kicking authority in the balls.
If you haven't to spare and really want to show support, consider subbing on Twitch, becoming a patron, or a member on YouTube. You'll get access to extra delights and debauchery, and you'll have my eternal appreciation. Thank you for being a freaking follower, and have a great freaking day.